What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. A little while ago, we posted part one of the timber frame pergola project. We did all the wood milling for the cedar timber framed pieces. Today, we're doing the final layout and getting the rest of the dimensions that we need to build this pergola. Come check it out. So there's this center island strip and this gated entryway for the Hills community here in Salishan, just south of Lincoln City, over here on the Oregon coast. What we're going to be building is a stone column with 2 cedar vertical beams, 1 large cross beam, and a small roof that's modeled after the classic design of the Salishan Hills area. We're going to be pouring a 16-inch by 16-inch concrete footing here and over here so that we can build the substructure both for our timber frame pergola, but also for the substructure of the stonework that's going to be going around here. There's going to be a stone wall that's going to be running from the back side of the gate box all the way up to the front side of the actual gate. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring that up around 32 inches, and then the rest of the way is going to be our timber frame pergola. All we're doing today is just getting a final layout and finished dimensions for everything that we need to process back in the shop so we can bring most of the pieces pre-processed out on site to get this thing built. Alrighty, if you guys missed the video, part 1 of the timber frame pergola project, we milled all of this beautiful cedar up at the Schooner property. I got one of our 6x6s here. This is going to be the top cross beam that all the roof pieces are going to be anchored to. And so what we're going to do with this is we're going to cut it to the finished dimension of our full length of what the beam is going to end up being. We're going to miter both the ends so we can have a nice angled detail on either side. And then we're actually going to pass it through the table saw and cut this to a ridged point. There's a faux roof going on the whole pergola. And what it's going to be is there's an iconic style in Salishan that are these 2x8 lap pieces of roofing. That's all in cedar. And what we're going to do is we're going to miter the top edge so that it comes to a point in the middle, which would be called the ridge, that we can anchor those roof pieces to. We're going to get this thing processed here real fast, and then pretty much all we're doing tomorrow is pouring concrete and prepping the site for the rest of the framing. Alright, so we've picked what the top of our beam is going to be. The reason why I picked it is it just has the straightest grain, and there's a slight curve to it, which the curve is really kind of high in the center. And so as we sit that across our 2 verticals, it'll just age really well with that slight bow going up. If we did the opposite and put that bow going down, it would be inclined for the roof to sag a bit. Fortunately, this thing isn't that long, and really the joints of this from the verticals into this beam are going to really be super strong. This piece is going to be cut at 10 feet. Like I said, we're going to do a slight angled return on either end. So what we're going to do right now is we're just going to mark that out and get those pieces cut. Alrighty, so as I mentioned, on our large cross beam, we're going to be cutting the top of the beam to a point so that it forms a ridge. This is just one of the offcuts we just cut off of that beam. We're just going to mock up the table saw to make sure we get the adequate cut to form our ridge before we cut up the whole beams. What we're going to do, we're just going to measure out the center of this piece. We're going to bring the table saw all the way up. And we're going to kick it over to 25 degrees here. We're going to cut it on both sides. And that way we just formed this perfect ridge peak that will go all the way down the whole beam. So what we're going to do real fast, we're just going to sand down the roughness from the milling on the beam over there. And we're going to cut it at this exact same angle. We have a whole stack of 2x8s. Again, if you missed that milling video, make sure you go check it out. And the 2x8s are going to do a staggered lap all the way down the whole ridge. That'll be kind of this faux roof. It's super iconic in Salishan. If you've ever been to Salishan, there's covered walkways throughout the whole facility. And all of the covered walkways has this exact same roofing style. So that's what we're matching it in the gated community here. We're gonna get that beam sanded up, we're gonna get it cut down, and that'll pretty much round out the pre-processing that is really, it would be super difficult to do that on site, get it done in the shop. That way when we take it out, we're pretty much ready to start framing up the timber frame stuff. We just mocked up this offcut here that we cut that ridge into on the table saw just a second ago. I first wanted to make sure that it was gonna be super solid with only having about 3 1/4 inches of screwing space. But because the way we have it overlapping itself and the angles that kind of catch each other here, it's super solid. It looks really, really cool. This is just mocked up in 2x6s. It's kind of just a couple extra pieces we had up on the sawmill that we couldn't really cut a full 2x8 out of. The real roof will be made all out of full, true 2x8s. It'll be the same exact style. Instead of 2x6s, it'll be 2x8s. This thing is really, really cool, and I'm starting to get super excited about seeing the roof across the whole entire piece here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw our beam right up onto the table saw, cut that same exact ridge. Tomorrow, we're gonna head back up there, pour some concrete, try to get the rest of this stuff framed out this week. Alrighty, there you have it. We have our ridge cut all the way down our whole beam. Everything looks really straight. It just comes to that point. As you can imagine, we'll have that 2x8 true dimension lap roofing all the way down the whole piece. Tomorrow we're gonna go pour some concrete. We're gonna get this ready for being framed up the day after. And this thing is gonna be really, really cool. So we're gonna go try to get all of our stuff together, rest up, because we got some heavy lifting to do over the next couple days here. So stay tuned, keep on watching. All right, so we just got done pouring the concrete footings for both of the verticals for the pergola. We got a little bit of that liquid Oregon coast sunshine today. Of course, anytime we gotta work outside, it finds a way to rain on us. No big deal, we're pretty used to it as Oregonians. So we mixed that concrete pretty wet so it would self-level. It's doing a great job of it already, and we only poured it about 45 minutes ago. It's already setting up pretty quick. As you can see, we have these all thread bolts that are sticking a little ways out of the concrete. Those will be what anchor our bucket brackets down to the concrete footing to support the pergola verticals. These all thread pieces are about 2.5 feet long, and we welded a cross brace on them so it would stick inside the concrete once it's set up. You guys, as you saw, this was part 2 of the timber frame pergola project. If you haven't seen part 1 where we milled all the cedar, go take a look at that. We'll be back on Friday with part 3. So make sure, if you're not already, hit that subscribe button, hit a like, throw a comment in the comment section. Make sure you turn on those notifications. We'll be back on Friday with part 3 where we do the majority of the timber framing. Thanks so much for checking it out. We'll see you on the next one.